The world of comic books and superhero movies are far removed from our own. In these pieces of media, people have amazing powers, fight with superpowered villains, and save the day on a constant basis. A lot of people who've seen superpowered characters do their superpowered deeds end up wishing, I wish I could do that. As it turns out, many of the powers you wish you actually had may not be so ideal in the real world after all. In this video, we're going to go over a few superpowers that you would absolutely not want to have. X-Ray Vision. If you have X-Ray Vision, you will be able to see through anything with your superhuman eyesight. You'll be able to see through anything. Green-minded people will have the idea of using it to see through clothes. But as it turns out, a real-life X-ray vision may not work in this way at all. X-rays are very sensitive, but don't have much control. If you focused your X-ray vision on someone, you'd see right through their clothes and their skin, leaving you looking at a bunch of skeletons walking around. Not so appealing now, is it? There's also the problem of radiation. Real X-rays are really dangerous, which is why X-ray technicians wear protective gear. Every time you use your super eyesight, you'd be flooding yourself and everyone else with massive amounts of radiation. Teleportation. The power of teleportation means you could instantly send yourself from one place to another. It seems pretty handy to be able to travel to work in the blink of an eye, or send yourself to Fort Knox without even opening the door. But then again, it's not all a bed of roses. Whenever you've teleported, you would leave behind a vacuum created by your vanishing, which would cause huge implosions wherever you left. When you arrived, the air being forced out of the space you teleported into would burst outwards. That means you'd be causing explosions everywhere you went to and from, which really is pretty inconvenient for both you and everyone around you. Also, as Nightcrawler said in the movie X-Men 2, you'd have to see where you are going. If you didn't, you could potentially teleport into a wall, or a floor, or even other people. You'd end up being crushed or fused or whatever you merged with. Yikes. It seems like most people have dreamed of sailing through the skies with a cape flapping behind them. Well, this idea may not be so fun once you really dive into the details, because flight would be a dangerous one. Let's consider the velocity, dust, and bugs hitting every inch of your exposed skin every time you take flight. There's a sensation jet fighter pilots are familiar with, whereby flying fast and changing direction quickly causes you to lose consciousness. Unless you flew slowly and gently, and where's the fun in that, you'd pass out and fall to your death. Also, the higher you fly, the colder and thinner the air would be, until you froze to death or suffocated. There's also the problem with other aircraft. At any moment during your flight, you could get sucked into the engine of a passing airplane. Even if you didn't get hit, the government wouldn't look too kindly on someone sailing wherever they wanted. Flying too close to airports and national monuments or military bases, anywhere interesting at all really, would get you shot down in record time. Shrinking. If you're a fan of Ant-Man, you surely would love this power. Let me tell you why you won't. Let's imagine that you have the power to shrink down to 2 or 3 inches tall, and then grow back again. It seems good on the big screen, shrinking down to hide easily, crawl through small holes, and become as dangerous as a bullet. But we don't think that it would work that well in real life. With your smaller size, you'd also be weaker. Ant-Man has the additional power of retaining his human-sized strength. Without that, though, even a penny would be hard for you to lift as a Sherman tank. You'd also be extremely light, easily blowing away from a stiff breeze. It would also take forever to get anywhere. Running 6 feet would be like running 6 blocks. Of course, in your smaller state, you'd have bigger problems. For example, your body's lungs have suddenly become so small that they can't take in oxygen. That's why Ant-Man wears a helmet with its own oxygen supply. Without it, you'd conceivably die of suffocation before any adventuring could even begin. Pyrokinesis. Imagine if you had the power to create fire from your body. It's awesome, isn't it? Well, let's take a step back for a second. If you really had the power to make fire come out of your body, you'd be killed almost instantly. That's because you're creating fire on your actual body. And remember, you're not invulnerable. You'd be dead long before anybody else even warmed up. Even if you created all those handy fires, you wouldn't have any control over them. The fires could easily burn out of control, burning down houses, cities, forests, wherever you created them. Within minutes, your attack could lead to widespread devastation. Also, where's the fuel for the fire supposed to come from? Your own body? Do you have gasoline in your veins instead of blood? If not, you'd only be able to ignite flammable objects like cloth or wood. You'd constantly be looking for something to burn. Immortality. Let's keep superpower simple and go with immortality. Let's say you just can't be hurt at all. That would be great, except the fact that everyone else is still mortal. Your crime-fighting buddies would continue to get older and get hurt. They would die or retire. You'd meet new heroes, and those would pass on. All your friends and family would die too, until their lifespan would seem like that of a fruit fly to you. You spend thousands of years watching helplessly as generations die off, while you continue living. If you kept that up, eventually you would end up watching humans developed over millions of years. Eventually, you'd look like a Cro-Magnon to them. Then, of course, there's the heat death of the universe to look forward to. That's if you were lucky. If you were unlucky, you might get trapped inside a collapsing building or a cave, where no one could dig you out. You would remain that way forever, unable to die and unable to move, slowly going mad. Regeneration. Wolverine is one of the most popular superheroes in comics, in part because he has one of the most enviable powers. He can heal from any injury, which means his tissues grow back quickly. Shoot him with a gun and the bullet hole heals instantly. Cut off his arm, he grows a new one. It would seem like someone who could regenerate would be invulnerable. The reality wouldn't be quite so much fun. If you break a bone, it would heal instantly, sure, but without being set properly, you would end up with a leg or arm at a twisted angle. You'd have to break the bone again and set it, but it would heal instantly again, so you'd go through an agonizing cycle of breaking and setting the bone until it healed normally. If you got shot, the hole would heal with the bullet still inside, and there would be no way to get it out. Surgery is out because they couldn't cut you open without it healing again. Also, if any vital organs like your brain were destroyed, your body would die instantly, so it couldn't heal. You can't heal from death. Well, unless you were immortal, but we've already talked about that fiasco. Super speed. Superheroes like the Flash are built for speed. They can move fast enough to dodge bullets and can cross hundreds of miles in seconds. It seems awesome, but in the real world, super speed would work a lot differently. First, as the supersonic jets discovered, anything moving faster than the speed of sound creates a loud sonic boom. While you're running all over the city, you'd be leaving behind a trail of destruction and deafened ears. Also, high speed equals high heat. Your feet would create so much friction, you would burn your shoes and feet right off. Not to mention that the wind blowing on your body would cook you alive. High speed also comes with slower reaction times. Once again, you don't get any additional powers besides speed, so you could easily run right into the first wall you come to on a trip and splatter yourself into a puddle. Even without running into anything, running that fast and turning, or even coming to a complete stop, would slam your brain and internal organs against the insides of your body, leaving your body a pile of goo. What do you think? Would you risk having these powers? Would you risk having these superpowers? Are there any superpowers you're certain that you would not want at all? Let us know in the comments section down below.